The one who begs always loses. A man who asks, who pleads, who chases, he gives away his power before he even begins. But the one who leads, the one who carries himself like a man with direction, with strength, with purpose, he doesn't need to ask. Because a woman follows leadership, not weakness. She respects a man who owns himself, who stands firm, who doesn't seek permission, and, in the end, it's not the beggar who wins her. It's the leader who rules both her heart and her body. The beginning. The difference between asking and commanding. Every woman already knows what you want. The real question is, do you know how to make her want to give it to you? This is the first and most important distinction between the man who asks and the man who commands. The man who asks comes from a place of weakness. He tries to win attention, affection, or validation by justifying himself, by providing reasons, by explaining why he deserves something. His energy is needy, grasping, always reaching outward for approval. He is predictable, easy to read, and easy to dismiss. The man who commands, however, understands something far deeper. He recognizes that attraction is not built on logic, but on presence, energy, and the atmosphere he creates. He knows that women are not looking to be persuaded with arguments. They are looking to feel. They are looking for a man whose presence naturally shifts the energy in the room, a man who radiates certainty, a man whose words carry weight not because of what he says, but because of how he says it. Most men make the mistake of believing that if they can explain themselves clearly enough, if they can present their case like a lawyer, then she will agree, submit, or give in. But persuasion through logic rarely works in the realm of desire. Desire doesn't live in the mind. It lives in the body, in emotions, in instincts that operate beneath words. When you rely on logic alone, you speak to her brain but not to her blood. Women, whether they admit it or not, are experts at feeling energy. They notice the subtleties of body language, the tone of your voice, the way you hold yourself when you speak. They notice whether you hesitate before making eye contact, whether your words align with your energy, whether you truly believe what you are saying. A man who asks always carries a shadow of doubt, but a man who commands communicates certainty even in silence. Think of the difference. The asker leans forward, explaining. The commander leans back, allowing her to come closer. The asker speaks quickly, trying to convince. The commander speaks slowly, as if every word is already truth. The asker fills the silence because he fears rejection. The commander embraces silence because he knows silence itself can command attention. This difference is not about arrogance or cruelty. It is not about treating women badly or manipulating them. It is about embodying a presence so solid that she cannot help but feel it. It is about stepping into your natural masculine power rather than hiding behind excuses and justifications. Women do not respond to men who need them. They respond to men who don't need but choose. This is the essence of commanding, choice. A man who commands never begs for affection because he knows he already has value. He knows that his presence alone is a gift and that his attention is not free. It is earned. And because he values himself, she values him more. When you learn to project power instead of neediness, the entire dynamic shifts. You stop chasing. You stop explaining. You stop justifying your worth. Instead, you create a gravitational pull. You become the kind of man who draws her in without lifting a finger, the kind of man who makes her want to be chosen, the kind of man whose approval feels like a reward. Men who beg fade into the background. They are forgettable, lost among the countless others who tried to convince their way into her world. But men who command are unforgettable. They stand out not because of tricks or lines, but because of who they are. Their energy lingers. Their presence marks her memory. She may not even fully understand why, but she cannot ignore it. Commanding is not about dominance over others. It is about mastery of yourself. When you master your own emotions, your own presence, your own energy, you naturally influence the emotions of those around you. And this is the secret. Women do not follow words, they follow energy. So when you step into a conversation with a woman, ask yourself, am I here to beg, or am I here to command? Do I want her to agree with my arguments, or do I want her to feel my certainty? Am I trying to take something, or am I radiating something so strong that she willingly offers it? The man who asks lives in a world of scarcity, always hoping, always chasing, always waiting for permission. The man who commands lives in a world of abundance, knowing that his worth is non-negotiable, knowing that his presence alone is power, and in that power lies the beginning of everything. The frame: who leads and who follows. Every interaction is a silent negotiation. Even when no words are spoken, something is being decided beneath the surface. Who is leading and who is following? This negotiation is invisible, but it defines the entire dynamic. Either you hold the frame, or she does. There is no middle ground. If you do not claim the frame, you automatically surrender it. And once surrendered, you step into her reality, her rules, her world. You become reactive instead of directive. When she holds the frame, you will notice it immediately. You start chasing. You start adjusting your words, your energy, your vibe in response to hers. Suddenly, you are trying to impress, trying to win, trying to keep her interest alive as if her attention is oxygen and you cannot breathe without it. This is the frame of weakness, and once you fall into it, she feels it instantly. Her attraction slips away, not because she wants to punish you, but because she cannot respect a man who has lost control of the negotiation. But when you hold the frame, everything shifts. The polarity reverses. She begins adjusting to you. Instead of you leaning into her world, she leans into yours. She studies your silence, wondering what you are thinking. She notices the rhythm of your words, the timing of your pauses, the weight of your tone. Your presence becomes the axis around which the interaction revolves. This is the invisible power of the frame. A strong frame is not built on clever words. It is not about witty comebacks, rehearsed lines, or forced bravado. The frame is deeper. It lives in your energy, your presence, your certainty. Words may decorate it, but the foundation is silent and unshakable. Think about your body language. Is it restless, twitching, needy? Or is it calm, grounded, immovable? A man with a strong frame does not flinch at silence. He allows it to hang in the air because he knows silence itself communicates dominance. Think about your voice. Is it rushed, trying to fill space? Or is it measured, calm, and deliberate? A strong frame does not need volume, it needs gravity. And your eyes, what story do they tell? Weak eyes beg. They dart, they search, they hope for approval. Strong eyes observe. They hold steady. They reveal curiosity without desperation, focus without need. In those eyes lies the essence of the frame. Leadership in this sense is not about noise. It is not about commanding her with force or dominating with aggression. True leadership is subtle. It is quiet but undeniable. It is the invisible confidence that says, "I know who I am, and you will feel it without me proving it." When you hold the frame, she tests you, sometimes consciously, often unconsciously. She challenges your words, delays responses, pushes your boundaries just to see if you remain steady. These tests are not attacks, they are invitations. She wants to know if your frame is real or fragile. And the moment you overreact, explain, or defend, she feels it crack. But if you remain calm, playful, or unaffected, the frame only grows stronger. This is why most men fail. They confuse holding the frame with controlling the woman. But control over others is weak. Control over yourself is power. The man who cannot be shaken, who cannot be pulled into someone else's chaos, naturally commands respect. Ask yourself, do you walk into conversations seeking to fit into her world? Or do you bring her into yours? Do you let her dictate the tempo? Or do you set the rhythm yourself? Are you reacting to her emotions? Or are you anchoring her into yours? The frame is not won in a single moment. It is established through consistency. From the way you sit, to the way you speak, to the way you handle pressure, every detail tells her who is leading. And once she feels your leadership, once she recognizes the solidity of your frame, her resistance begins to melt. She no longer needs to control, because she feels safe to follow. This is the paradox. Women do not want to lead an attraction. They may test, they may challenge, but deep down, they want to feel a man strong enough to guide. When you hold the frame, you give her the freedom to relax into her natural role. You give her the gift of certainty in a world full of chaos. The one who leads defines reality. The one who follows adapts to it. So the question is simple. In every interaction, who is writing the story? You or her? The reward trigger. Making her want to give. Look at the difference between two men. The first man believes that the path to a woman's heart is paved with endless giving. He floods her with attention, showers her with compliments, buys her gifts, and rearranges his entire life around her presence. He believes this devotion will win her over, but instead, he is met with indifference. His words fall flat, his gestures are dismissed, his affection becomes invisible. The more he gives, the less she values it. His abundance becomes his weakness. The second man operates differently. He does not chase. He does not smother. He withholds, not out of cruelty, but out of self-respect. He speaks little, but his words land with weight. He gives rarely, but when he does, it feels monumental. And suddenly, the dynamic reverses. She bends herself toward him. She waits for his approval, craving even the smallest gesture of attention. A glance, a smile, a word from him feels like a reward she has earned. Why is this so? Why does the one who gives everything lose value, while the one who gives little becomes irresistible? The answer is ancient. Abundance without effort breeds contempt. What comes too easily is never valued. Human beings, at their core, are wired to pursue what is scarce, to desire what is not freely available. When something demands effort, we attach value to it. When it costs us nothing, we take it for granted. This is the essence of the reward trigger. A man who gives without discrimination becomes forgettable. A man who withholds wisely becomes unforgettable. Your attention is your currency. If you spend it recklessly, flooding her with constant validation, its value collapses like a currency inflated beyond recognition. But when your attention is rare, when it must be earned, it becomes priceless. It becomes the very thing she chases. Think about it. A compliment from the man who praises every woman means nothing, but a single compliment from the man who rarely gives them feels like treasure. A text from the man who messages all day loses its meaning, but a short reply from the man who chooses his moments carefully can electrify her. The difference is not in the words. It is in the value created by scarcity. When your attention is rare, she begins to invest. She leans in, searching for your approval. She puts effort into her appearance, her words, her behavior, because she feels she must earn you. This is the trigger that transforms her mindset. She is no longer passive, waiting to be impressed. She becomes active, striving to impress you. And here is T, the ending. The man who begs loses, the man who chooses wins. Most men approach women like debtors. Their posture, their words, their energy all scream the same message: I owe you. They treat her beauty as a debt. They treat her attention as a gift. They behave as if her presence is something so extraordinary that they must prove themselves worthy of it. In doing so, they place her on a pedestal and themselves on their knees. But this mindset is fatal. The man who sees himself as a debtor can never truly lead, never truly inspire desire, never truly command respect. His interactions are poisoned by neediness. Every compliment, every gesture, every attempt at affection is tainted by the energy of repayment, an energy that women instinctively feel and instinctively reject. The man of power, however, moves differently. He never begs. He never pleads. He never proves himself. Why? Because he already knows his worth. He understands that his time, his presence, his attention are not free. They are currency. They are treasures. And treasures are not given away to anyone who asks. They are offered only to those who earn them. This is the critical difference. The man who begs hopes to be chosen. The man of power chooses. And when you choose instead of ask, everything changes. The dynamic reverses. You are no longer waiting for her validation. She is waiting for yours. You are no longer chasing her approval. She is chasing yours. Your presence becomes the prize, and she feels the weight of possibly losing it. This sense of risk is not cruelty. It is reality. Scarcity creates value. What is rare is cherished. What is common is discarded. When you carry yourself like the prize, you ignite a primal fear in her, the fear of losing something irreplaceable. And this fear transforms into desire, into effort, into devotion. Think about it. The man who begs communicates, "You are above me. Please accept me." The man who chooses communicates, "I am above begging. I will decide if you are worthy of me." One frame collapses into weakness, the other radiates strength. It is not arrogance to choose, it is self-respect. To choose does not mean to devalue her, it means to value yourself first. It means to recognize that her beauty, her charm, her attention are not the only treasures in the room. You are a treasure too, and treasures do not beg to be discovered. They wait, they shine, and they allow the worthy to earn them. This is why men who beg always lose. They lose respect. They lose attraction. They lose the chance to lead. They sacrifice their masculine power for scraps of attention that never satisfy. But men who choose always win, not because every woman falls at their feet, but because the women who remain in their lives do so willingly, eagerly, devotedly. To beg is to gamble your worth on her opinion. To choose is to anchor your worth in yourself. To beg is to live in scarcity. To choose is to live in abundance. The ending is simple, but it carries the weight of everything. The man who begs loses. The man who chooses wins. So ask yourself, as you step into every interaction, every conversation, every connection, are you begging for approval, or are you choosing who is worthy of yours? Are you giving away your crown, or are you wearing it with quiet certainty? Because at the end of it all, women do not remember the man who begged. They remember the man who chose. They remember the man who stood tall, who valued himself, who carried himself like the prize. And they never forget the man who made them feel that being chosen by him was the true reward. That is when surrender happens. Not through persuasion, not through begging, but through presence, scarcity, and leadership. A woman does not yield to words. She yields to energy. She does not melt because you try harder. She melts because your very being pulls her in. This is the new era of masculine seduction, the end of pleading, the death of neediness, the rejection of chasing. It is the rise of mastery, the rebirth of true power. It is the age of the man who does not ask, who does not lower himself to seek permission, but who chooses. And because he embodies certainty, because his presence lingers long after he has left, he receives. Not by force, not by demand, but by the natural law of attraction that rewards strength and punishes weakness. The unforgettable man never begs. He commands without noise. He is the prize, and she knows it.